So the establishment always tells you the truth. That's why we were in 8 wars. The establishment newspapers always tell you the truth. That's why Bernie Sanders is a sexist. The establishment newspapers always tell you the truth. That's why Donald Trump was in bed with the Russians, even though nobody could ever find a shred of evidence. But the establishment news told you that Russia overturned our elections. The establishment news. The establishment news, Jake Tapper will tell you at CNN that our current healthcare system costs less than Medicare for all. Yes. That's the establishment news. Establishment news tells you that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. That Assad gassed his own people. Those are all false. They also tell you that Maduro is lighting aid trucks on fire. Also false. They tell you that Gaddafi needs to be decapitated. That's the establishment news. Also false. Update from Twitter's safety. We're expanding our safety rules to include content that could place people at a high risk of transmitting COVID-19. Now we'll require people to remove tweets that include the following: content that increases the chance that someone contracts and transmits the virus, including denial of expert guidance, encouragement to use fake or ineffective treatments, preventions, and diagnostic techniques, and misleading content purporting to be from experts or authorities. Now, I've heard of the Ministry of Truth shit, but this is ridiculous. They're gonna hall monitor our conversations about the coronavirus, a virus nobody knows anything about. You're gonna hall monitor this? I thought you already had blue checks. Isn't that the point of blue checks, or one of the points? This guy says, how does Twitter determine any of this? Do they have a medical staff? Here is a friend of the show, Connor Habib, says, this is not good. Who is determining the expert? Who is determining fake treatments? Expert? Again, whose guidance varies? Experts' guidance vary from country to country. We just saw this. There was a big disagreement with how UK was handling the virus. They're saying herd immunity. Unless Twitter is run by an extremely broad base of medical experts who represent multiple perspectives, this is awful. In other words, we are not only being told not to question experts, but we are told not to even interpret their information in the tweets. Many gay men who listened to experts during the HIV epidemic died slow, painful deaths. Some lived, of course, depending on which experts and what context. The unreserved support for authority here is very troubling for this site and its future, if not for all of us in general. I saw that Matthew McConaughey movie about the AIDS treatment when he was the outlier, when he was going against the treatment that they were saying was the right, and he saved people's lives. And that's the point he's making. The unreserved support for authority here is troubling. So I love what Henry says. Henry says, wisdom of the crowds is a well-established sociological theory which shows more people sharing information is more likely to yield the correct answer. Improbability theory is referred to as the jury theorem. Disastrous move by Twitter. So this kind of censorship actually makes us dumber. Because you know what? All censorship makes us dumber. This is Orwell's Ministry of Truth. And let me ask you this. Do you think they're going to take stuff by Tom Perez down? This is NPR. Democratic National Committee Chairman Tom Perez told NPR he believes state officials should move forward with scheduled primaries despite guidance that people should socially distance themselves to avoid spreading the coronavirus. So now you're going to take Tom Perez's Twitter feed down? Of course you're not going to do that. Are you going to take down his tweets that says that? No, of course you're not going to do that. This isn't about saving people's lives. This is about censorship and controlling a narrative. Are you going to take down Joe Biden's tweet? Because here's Joe Biden going against the science. Want to see what Joe Biden says? If you are feeling healthy, it says it right here, if you are feeling healthy, not showing symptoms, and not at risk of being exposed to COVID-19, please vote on Tuesday. That goes directly against the CDC's recommendations. That tweet is still up. Everyone is at risk of being exposed to COVID. There is no one not at risk. That's something that doesn't exist. That's not science. And so it serves him politically to deny science, so Joe Biden and the Democratic Party deny science. When it serves Trump, he denies science. When it serves Biden, he denies science. They are no fucking different. This is sociopathic behavior. This is something Nazis would do. Even ISIS is telling their own members to not jihad during a coronavirus. Stay home. Blow yourself up at home. This is what they're saying. This is what they're telling people to go out, get infected, bring it back to your house, and kill somebody. Twitter is going to leave that up. What could possibly be what problem with letting silicone billionaires decide what's science? A bunch of fucking asswipes who run a social media company are going to tell me what science is when they leave shit like this up? By the way, here's a tweet. I bet this will be left up. This is from the WHO. Do you want to hear what they said? This is from 2019. Preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authorities. No, this is from January. This is from now. This is from January 2020. Preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus identified in Wuhan, China. Is that tweet still up? So we should take that down from the WHO, and you're going to start telling the WHO what they could be able to tweet out and what not? Is there a doctor at Twitter? Because that's false information. So do you see why you shouldn't be fucking picking and choosing? Especially some asswipes who don't know their fucking asshole from a hole in the ground in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. I saw Jack Dorsey on Joe Rogan's. He doesn't know shit about shit. He didn't know who New Knowledge was. He didn't know that this Russia thing was completely invented. He didn't know that the guys who started this Russian bot thing got caught inventing Russian bots themselves. Jack doesn't know anything. And he's in charge of censorship about science? Here's a couple of tweets I'll read to you. It says, if you want people to have expert guidance, you should start by blue checking the experts. That's why people have blue checks and experts have. That's why people can go find their experts. And then here's their idea behind maybe they should get green checks or something because most of us don't trust blue checks anymore. Mm-hmm. This list should also include people using. Now, look how in people are for censorship. Talk about people being giddy over censorship, being giddy that they like it. Here is somebody at Maryland Pat 77 says this list of stuff that you can't do around coronavirus that Twitter tweeted out. They wanted to include people using racist terms for the virus. They want to censor you if you use a racist term for the virus. Americans love censorship, baby. Brooke Binkowski, that's a blue check. Agree. Censorship. Words hurt me. Brooke Binkowski, shame on you. You should have your blue check taken away. Please, after taking our freedom of speech, would you mind taking our freedom of thought and all our rights and liberties? Thanks, you're the best comrades. I like this. Cool. Now do climate change, vaccines, and Nazi stuff. So there's accepted thought. And Twitter's going to let you know what it is. What could be? What's the matter? Why can't we have a little censorship? Fucking asswipes. People who don't deserve freedom of speech. You know who doesn't deserve freedom of speech? Is the blue check. Brooke, whatever the fuck, Brinkowski. Don't deserve it. Because you have no idea what it is or what the value of it is. You're the enemy of freedom of speech and liberty. This is ridiculous. You have anything to say? You want to add anything?
Jimmy, all I wanted to add is, as I was before the show, I was watching Trump was having a press conference, and as I was walking, I heard one woman ask, "So, President Trump, do you think the phrase Chinese food is racist?" And I was like, I don't understand how this conversation during the pandemic, how that was a leading question into the concerns of racism that are happening. So I was a little confused by that.
I saw somebody was upset that their kid went to school and was a victim of racism because they're Asian and over this pandemic.
Yes.
And
our big question was
when I first read that, I was like, "Oh, that's horrible." And then my next thought was, "Why the fuck is your kid going to school?" That's the bigger outrage here. That your kid's you're sending your kid in school in the middle of a fucking pandemic? What's wrong with people? And you think the problem is that they're making fun of them? The problem is your kid's going to get a virus, bring it home, and kill somebody. What in the fuck is wrong with people? Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?